The BMW 1M, a car I never truly understood. Seemingly just a parts bin car with the N55 motor, but the market has spoken and the price tags have stayed high. Rare enough to be special, but not so rare that they're unobtainable. Today, I'll take the 1M out on track, and at the end, I'll give you my full review. Is the 1M overhyped or truly something special? Let's find out for ourselves.
Guys, just look at this thing. I love those wide fenders. The BMW 1M. Shout out to Ryan for letting me drive his car. He is a through and through car enthusiast, and he tracks this car. Has 95,000 kilometers on it. Everything is stock. Only thing he's changed is just some fluids. But even the brake pads are stock. So here we go, the Valencia orange, which I absolutely love on the 1M. I think if you buy this car, it has to be this color. Some of the screens are a little bit outdated, but this is very much BMW. The 1M, the parts bin car, the last of the E series. If you guys know, I actually have a BMW E92 M3 in part of my garage. I also have a BMW M2 competition, and so here we go. The clutch has a pretty long travel. My E92 does have the ultimate clutch pedal. I just find that actually this car is the same thing. The clutch grab point is a little bit high, so pedal placement really good. Let's see how it feels out on track. Here we go, guys. BMW 1M. Here we go. See how it takes the curb. Oh, the stock suspension. I'm surprised how good it is. The brakes need a little bit of work. Oh, it's floorboard sliding here. Oh, the balance. A little bit of exit oversteer on the brakes. Get the nose in. There's that balance I'm talking about. The rear end just is suggesting it wants to step out. A little bit of turbo lag here. Should have taken second gear. A little bit of trail brake. Let's just touch the curb. Oh, I'm surprised how good the stock suspension is. Loads up nicely. It's carried good speed over here. Yes. Brakes need a lot of work here. We are on the stock brakes. All right, let's see if it really is an M car here. Throw it in. Definitely an M car, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I love this thing. Let's see how it does over here. A little bit of rotate. I should take second gear there, guys. Oh, 1M. Where have you been all my life? Oh, the power builds. The S55 kind of dives up on top, but it has more low-end torque, of course, through the S's. A little bit of rotation there. Good over the curb. What a good car. I'm surprised how good this is in stock format. BMW M cars usually need a lot of work to keep them from understeering. This one, so good. A little bit of four-wheel sliding there and sliding on the exit. Stock M cars, stock E92s, stock M2s, they don't do this. They don't dance like this. Oh, I'm starting to see why this car is holding value so much. Yes, the N54 does have some issues, but look at this thing. Look at the hips. I love the small package. Oh my God, over the curb, full throttle, balance the car, power. Oh, yes, yes, just yes. It just needs better brakes. Throw it in. Yes! Just yes! BMW 1M, why do you cost so much? I now understand why. What a car! It just dances. Look at that rotation through there. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. If you guys are following the channel, you know I just bought an E92 M3 and I paid a pretty penny for a clean one. I did a ton of mods, and this is somehow more exciting. How? They say, guys, never meet your heroes, and when this car came out, I didn't really understand it. I thought it was weird, and the market spoke for itself. People didn't really buy these. You could walk into BMW and buy one of these, but now the value speaks for itself. Like, the prices have skyrocketed. I absolutely love the owner, Ryan, for tracking this car, for enjoying it, for not caring about how many kilometers are on the odometer, but what this car makes you feel. It's analog, it has the hydraulic steering. Yes, it does have turbo lag, but this actually, it's exciting as it builds. Of course, the manual transmission, yes, it's a little bit rubbery. Maybe some bushings will help, or maybe like a short shift kit or something like that. The pedal placement is great. What an amazing package from BMW M. Wow. Of course, raw performance is not as good as my BMW M2 competition or the E92 M3 even, but the driving dynamics, this car has such a good front end compared to the other two that I just mentioned. It's more balanced. It feels like a nice small tight package, small wheelbase. It's so much fun. And with all BMWs, you just throw them in and slide them around. What a nice package.
So everyone, we are back in the garage. It is the heart of winter at this point, and I want to kind of wrap up this 1M video. Of course, next to me is my E92 M3 and the M2. As you know, I'm a pretty big BMW fan, but I came into this review not really expecting to love the 1M the way that I did. For one, the 1M has the N54, which has this whole host of issues: electric water pump versus belt driven, the thermostat, fuel pumps, charge pipes, belts, leaks, so on and so forth. And although the M3 right here of the same generation has its own engine problems, the S58 V8, the E9X M3 engine is just absolutely spectacular in my opinion. The high revving, naturally aspirated V8, a motor that needs to be wrung out, that's exciting, that makes good noises. But the N54, the heart and soul of the car itself, the 1M, is pretty lackluster in my opinion compared to this S58 V8. However, I did enjoy revving out the N54, and as it builds boost, it's actually quite exciting. Call me crazy, but the turbo lag kind of adds to the excitement to a certain degree. And on the topic of the M3, the 1M borrows the rear differential from the M3 of the same generation, which honestly isn't that good. It's slow to react, and it only really begins to lock up once it senses some slip. So it doesn't really have that really good drive out of corners. Yes, you can throttle steer it a little bit, but not until the car sort of develops a little bit of slip. So again, it's really slow compared to the F series right here, or the G series differentials that are much better. The rear subframe is also bored from the M3 with rubber subframe bushings. And it wasn't until the F series that BMW moved to solid rear subframe bushings. And the brakes are also off the E9X M3, and those aren't very good either. You know, single piston in the front, and in my opinion, absolutely need to be changed up for any hard track use. You know, this video is cut in the way that it's cut because I actually have to cool off the brakes. It can handle about a lap and a half before you experience some significant fade. Of course, this has the stock brake pads from way back then, but still needed to really manage the brakes. And next, the hydraulic steering. And although it is quite good, this might be a hot take, but it's not really as amazing as some people make it out to be. It's good, it loads up really well, but it's not absolutely amazing. Way better than F series, way better than the G series, but you know, compared to some other things like even my Gen 2 BRZ, Gen 1 BRZ, of course the Porsches, really, it's good, but not absolutely amazing. So in between the motor, the subframe, the bushings, the brakes that I don't really like, it's pretty soft, mostly rubber. I didn't expect it to like it that much. I didn't expect it to be really honestly that much fun. So it seems to me that I've learned that some cars are more than the sum of its parts. And the 1M is a parts-bin engineering project, the last of the E series BMW that I absolutely love. And the market called this car a legend. And if you want an old school analog driving hit in a beautifully sculpted, timeless wide body shell, the 1M is one of the clearest ways to get it. Limited production, which makes it feel very special, and there's this emotional connection. It's beautiful to look at in a small package, and the playful nature and balance make it really desirable. So, should I sell my E92 for a 1M? So at the time of filming this video, a clean or lower mileage example of 1M costs somewhere in the range of $60,000 to $80,000 Canadian, and even more for ultra low mileage examples. And if I bought one, I would definitely do what I always do. I would absolutely ruin it. I would rip it apart, take the seats out, change out the brakes, lighten it, do suspension arms, differential, and more. At that point, I'd be spending a lot of money and at the same time be tearing apart a classic. Look, I understand that once you start modifying a car, the sky is the limit. The E92 M3, which can be had for much less, plus all the modifications, including my upgraded brakes, my seats, refreshing the entire interior, all the major maintenance, suspension arms, and more, cost similar to a 1M. But the nail in the coffin, honestly, for me, is the engine. The naturally aspirated high revving V8 in this car is just too good. This car, paired with the Auto Solutions short shifter kit, the ultimate clutch pedal, and a lighter flywheel, there's just no comparison all the way to 8,000 plus RPM. Stock to stock, there's a chance I'm taking the 1M. It's so playful and honestly such a looker. But the E92 with the money for modifications, I'm going with that all day. Or even stock to stock, it's a hard choice. I don't think you can go wrong with either. Definitely not as fast as the newer stuff. However, the 1M has a perfect blend of style, rarity, old school analog vibes, a manual shifter. What else can you ask for? A reminder to us all about why we love driving. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.